In the last video, we looked at how to create the, whole sheet of business cards. We looked at how to create each business card to be the right size, and we looked at how to align them properly, and we looked at, adding trim marks around each one of them, right? But before we do this, actually, the most important step is to make sure that each business card is created the way you want it to look, because you only want to create the business card once. You don't want to go around to each 10 of these cards and then add text to each one of them, add a logo to each one of them, and add, the address to each one of them. So you want to make sure that one is perfect, and then you duplicate that one like we just did in the previous video. Okay, so let's start by creating one, and you can do it on the same sheet. Okay, so let me just delete away everything. All right, so we're going to start with one business card, and then with that I'm going to add my text. So maybe I want to have a Big Fish Diner is going to be my business. Okay, Big Fish Diner, here we go. And I'm just gonna find a font that works for me. Go Big Fish Diner, and that's too big. Maybe I'll make the word fish different, make that more interesting. There we go. And I can also play around with other things that I've learned in my in Photoshop, ways that I can make my text more interesting. So I'm going to go to type over here and go to characters. Okay, and I'm just going to kind of use tracking to squish it together so that it fits on here. Big Fish Diner, there we go. Always making sure that I have space around on the sides. I don't want my text to go all the way to, the side, and maybe I can change some of this here. There we go. Add a stroke to my fish. Okay. Maybe that's not the best color because I can't see it now. Or perhaps I'd like to change my background color to make it a little bit darker so that stands out more. All right, so anyway, you can play around with your business card and logo, and of course I'm going to add my phone number here. Okay, you add things like your phone number and your address here to your business card, and usually information like phone number and address, I try and keep it to a very simple font so that it's legible, people can read it easily. All right, and of course you don't have to make this text up. You can go to your assignment here, and then you just copy and paste the information that's already given to you here. So, oh, there we go. I could have just went here and copied it. Okay, there we go. All right, so this needs a little bit more. Now it's just text, so I need to have some kind of a logo in here. I'm going to make my text a bit smaller here. Okay. Go, and I'm going to have my logo in here. I can just draw my logo here with my brush, right? Okay, so maybe I like to draw a fish here. Big Fish Diner, and okay, so that's a very sort of simple. There we we go. I'm just going to put it behind that. So that's a very simple logo that I've drawn. You know, obviously I want you to spend a little bit more time on your business card, but okay, let's say I'm happy with this. I'm going to actually select all of it. Okay, and I make sure that there's no kind of stray thing sticking out of my business card that, you know, for example, sometimes, you know, we forget, we kind of click somewhere else and then we don't want that text anymore maybe, and then we, you know, delete it, but sometimes there's still something left in there. You can see that, right? You can see that there's still something left in there. It says type here. So there's still something there, but we don't see it. So when we select it, it becomes like that. The group becomes a little bit bigger than what you want it to be. So that's going to interfere with your trim mark. So what happens is now when you go to object group, so that's your group, and then you go to object create trim marks, your trim marks are a bit off. It's bigger than your business card is because it's, you know, it's also including this little stray thing that you have over there. So I'm just gonna undo a few times, undo trim marks and undo group. So you really want to make sure that there's nothing sticking out, right? So when you select everything and you go object group, which you must, okay, just make sure that your group is only as big as the background of your business card. All right, so now if you're happy with your business card here, now you can go on and follow the steps in the last video, okay, which is to duplicate these. So Alt, drag it out. Okay, so if they're a little bit kind of all over the place, then you just, you know, select all, align them, distribute them. Oops, that's not what I wanted to do. I align tops, okay? So this is vertical distribute, so you distribute them properly, and then you can group it again, right click group, and then Alt and drag another one out. So if I accidentally shifted it down, I can, you know, I can select both and then align to the top. Okay, a bit too much room at the bottom, there we go. And then I have to select all of them again, right click, and then ungroup. Okay, so now they are, each one is a separate group, right? So I click on each business card, I go object, create trim marks, object, create trim marks. Where is it? There we go. And object, create trim marks. Okay, so I have to do this to each one of them. All right. And you have to make sure that they are aligned, because otherwise, if they're not aligned and you send it to the printer, it is going to cut off some parts of some of the business cards. Okay, so almost there. Okay, second last one, object, create trim marks. And then last one, object, create trim marks. So it's important that they're all aligned, because otherwise when you send it to, you know, the slicer here, right, it's going to cut off part of the business cards if they're not properly aligned. So this is what you would submit. You would go to File, Export, right, Save As, Export As. Okay, so this is assignment 5. And save as type JPEG, and very important, use artboards, okay? And then export. So again, I cannot stress enough, you must check use artboards, export, and then that is what you would submit. All right, so have fun with the design of your logo and business card, and please let me know if you have any questions.